And just for your ears, CJ, the way it's gonna look is like I'm gonna be in one box, you'll be in another box. So I know you can't really like see me. I'll try to like talk you through what stuff like pops on the screen. You should be able to hear sound bites and stuff like that. So you can react to those. But just kind of treat it like, you're on a Zoom call and somebody's like looking at you and talking to you. I know it can be kind of easy to, you're talking to the sky because nobody's looking at you kind of thing, but just a heads up.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we're about to get going. All right, 15 seconds. Okay. What's happening? And welcome into the 24th floor. It is Thursday, February 27th, and Black History Month is almost over, so go shake a black person's hand today. Today's show, we'll hang out with CJ Hurt of Grind City Media and the Jessica Benson Show featuring CJ Hurt. We got to talk some NFL Draft Combine and a good night for the Memphis Tigers. The 24th floor starts right now. Yes, sir. My guest today is a man of many talents, CJ Hurt of Grind City Media. He's the producer and co-host of the Jessica Benson Show featuring CJ Hurt. He also hosts the HBCU Huddle alongside my guy Mike Wallace over there at Grind City Media. CJ, what's it like to have your name in the headline of your show? Because ABC24 wasn't letting me have it. I wanted my name in the light somewhere, and they weren't trying to do it.
That was not I didn't want that. That's not something that I advocated for or fought for. That all credit for that goes to the great Jessica Benson, who, when Rise and Grind ended, she was going to get the show name changed. They wanted to change the name of the show. Shout out to Megan Triplett. But they were going to change the name of the show, and they were going to change it to the Jessica Benson Show. Great, let's do it. And she was adamant. She's like, no. It has to be the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. I was like, Jessica, don't put that in there. It's okay. She's like, no, it's not. You're going to have your name in there too. I was like, okay, Jessica, whatever.
Hey, man, we're talking
I
about,
get paid the same.
We're talking about Black History Month, right? So you need allies, right? We love an ally. I love Jessica, man. She's great. Everything y'all do over there on that show is fantastic and hilarious. We're talking about Black History Month just a little bit here. I got the Malcolm X shirt on with the matching glasses. Let the people see that real quick. You got a very, it's not Black History, but it's very, very black. Can you tell the class what you got on today?
At one point in time, Cassius Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali. And one of the quotes about the name change was, his mama called him Cassius, so I'ma call him Cassius. And I don't know if you guys know anything about what's going on down there in the Gulf region, but there's some name changes floating about right now. And I think that if his mama called him the Gulf of Mexico, I should call him the Gulf of Mexico as well. I don't understand what's going on with this Gulf of America nonsense. I don't understand. First, they wanted to take Pluto away. First, they took Pluto away from me. Pluto's not a planet. Pluto's always going to be a planet in my heart, and Gulf of Mexico will always be the Gulf of Mexico in my heart.
Heard. All right, man. Let's jump into our big idea of the day. I feel like there's no segue there. Let's just go to it. The NFL Draft Combine starts today, runs through the weekend. Abdul Carter presumed to be the number one pick to the Titans, although he's got some foot problems he's dealing with. A lot of speculation about where Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward will go as the quarterbacks of this draft, but Shedeur says he doesn't plan to work out at the Combine, and there'll be a couple of Tigers there as well. CJ, I'm wondering for you, brother, like I said, you're a man of many talents. What event do you think you'd do best at the Draft Combine?
A funny question. I put that on our chat question today, and the people in the Jessica Benson Show chat voted 40% of them. 40%. That's damn near half. voted that I'd probably do best at the drug test, right? Like that's probably it, man. I know I could pass one of those. I've passed a bunch of those before. That's the event I do the best at. My test will come back so damn clean. I am telling you. Damn the 40, forget the bench press. I can't bench 225. I've never been able to bench 225. I'm slow. I'm not agile. It's either the drug test or the Wonderlic. I flunked out of pharmacy school twice. And the reason they gave me the second chance is because I did really, really well on the PCAT, which is the entrance exam in the pharmacy school. I scored better than I still have it. I still have that, like a printout of it to show people. It's one of my cool little party tricks. I was in the 83rd percentile, 84th percentile on the MCAT. I was like 90 percentile reading comprehension, and that's all the Wonderlic really is hey, read this and do you comprehend it? So I could do well on the test, the drug test or the Wonderlic. Don't make me do nothing physical, man. I can't handle that. What about you?
I'm glad to know that your football knowledge is up there to handle that Wonderlic test. I would say probably like the quickness drills. Give me like the 3-cone drill, something like that. Yeah. I was always quick, but not like fast, like when you say fast, you're thinking, oh, this guy runs like a, 4.3, 4.4. If we're talking about the NFL draft combine, right? Like, I think the fastest 40 I ever ran was like a 4.7, and that would have been when I was like a sophomore in high school. And at that point, I was getting to the point where I was like, I mean, it was okay. I got to the point I realized, like, I'm not playing college ball, man. I'm not running any more 40. So forever, that will be like my cap out. I have bench 225 before, when I was in my, I'm gonna live in the gym kind of moment. And I could probably get you a good two reps at 225.
That's better than me.
So
that's better than me.
That's about all I got. I don't think I can still do that anymore, but who knows? And when it comes to the draft, this is kind of one of those weird NFL drafts where it doesn't seem like we care. I mean, we do care about, it seems like so much of what happens in the NFL as far as free agency goes, Matthew Stafford and whatever he got going on with Tom Brady and them Raiders, like wherever those
they accidentally
met each other at the, I don't believe any of that. But it seems like we're dealing with a lot of that in order to know where these drafted quarterbacks are going to go and some of these other guys. What do you think about what some of that chatters look like?
First off, it's hilarious that Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady just accidentally run into one another at one of the more exclusive ski resorts in the nation.
Rich people resort.
Like that's pretty damn funny. 2, my fastest 40 was a 5.2, so you got me blown out the water, right? And 3, it is. This is how it works in the NFL, where we're going to, at the end of the season, see if we can't get the biggest, hottest free agent or tradable quarterback name that we can if we're high up in the draft. And if we can, great. We're set at the quarterback position, and we're not going to be looking for the quarterback position early in the draft. We'll look for it a little bit later, and that allows us to do some things differently in the draft. Last year, the Falcons did that. They end up going out there and getting Kirk Cousins in a trade. I think free agency. I can't remember.
Don't remind me of my Falcons right now.
And then they draft Penix, right? Like
right, So, then they draft Penix.
But that's the other part to this also. Mm-hmm. Just because you get Sam Darnold, just because you get Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers, those are the 3 big quarterback names that are out there this season. That doesn't mean that your team won't still draft one of these top quarterbacks, because the Falcons did it last year, and it does happen from time to time. I feel like the Colts did it with Richardson when he was drafted, where they went out and they got Matty Ice, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, Matty Ice.
Was it Flacco?
Matthew Ryan. It was Matt Ryan, and then it became Joe Flacco after the fact, yes.
Right. So they went out Matt Ryan and then end up somewhere another grabbing Richardson. So it is interesting. I think that absolutely if Stafford just accidentally ends up on the Raiders, just an example.
Right.
That would probably take them out of the Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes? I would think so. But the way that Shedeur is being positioned in draft boards, it feels like he is dropping some. So the Raiders could theoretically accidentally get Matthew Stafford, trade out of that pick and grab Shedeur later in the draft. Like that's still a possibility. It's draft season, baby. All of these things could possibly happen. There are no wrong answers when it comes to draft questions this early into draft season or this time of the year in draft season.
Yeah, all the pieces are kind of all over the place when it comes to the NFL draft right now. What I think is interesting, to your point, is these free agent quarterbacks that are out there right now are definitely going to affect where these really, really good high-end rookie quarterbacks get drafted, because I see the Raiders. Because they have Tom Brady, it seems like everything they do has an air of legitimacy to it now. So I could see them landing a Matthew Stafford in free agency. It just seems to me like he would still be kind of a bridge quarterback, and he's going to be a really expensive bridge quarterback. And so if that is the case, do you pick him up and still come behind and grab a Shedeur Sanders or a Cam Ward? I don't think Cam Ward's still going to be there by the time the Raiders get there. I think Shedeur could be there. I kind of like either one of them with the New York Jets, just simply because they both seem, and Shedeur in particular seems like he is going to be somebody who can handle those bright lights in a city like New York. And there's runway, right? They still have a pretty good roster over there in New York, even though last year was kind of a disaster for the Jets, but I can still see them having a really good couple of seasons and allowing that rookie quarterback to kind of grow into his own. So I would be interested to see what happens there. The Giants are a mess. Whoever's there, they need to go get because they're absolutely terrible. But let's talk about these Memphis Tigers that are going to be in this draft. How do we localize the NFL draft? Because what we do as a local station, we localize everything. We talk about the Memphis Tigers that are in it, and former Tiger quarterback Seth Hennigan and former Tiger receiver Rock Taylor will both be at the NFL Combine. Hennigan holds like every quarterback record there is to hold at Memphis, over 14,000 yards, 104 touchdown passes in his career. Only 15 quarterbacks have ever done that, 4-year starter. Rock Taylor has been at Memphis the last 3 years. He's 1,000-yard season as a junior, 950 yards as a senior. They're going to try to impress the scouts and hear their name called in April. CJ, you've been in Memphis quite a long time. You've been able to watch these guys the last couple of years. What do you think they have to prove? How do you think they fare in the Combine and maybe later in the draft?
I think they have everything to prove, and the Combine is going to be important for them because it's the relationships that they will start building in the NFL with front office executives who are probably, I would guess, I hadn't seen them on any of the mock drafts that I've looked at. They're probably like free agent signings. They're probably rookie free agent signings, I would think. And that is, hey, come be on the practice squad, come show us what you can do in the preseason. And some of that is about the relationships that you can build here right now at the Combine. The interviews will be so very, very important for both of them. We know what they can do. We've seen it all on tape. Like you said, Seth Hennigan got all of the major records a quarterback could have and or want at the University of Memphis. Rock Taylor has had some truly special moments at the university as well. So it's all on tape. It is going to be, hey, does this player's personality fit into our locker room? Is this a player worth trying to bring in and seeing what they can and can't do? Are they going to be willing to make sacrifices to be on this roster? And that's going to be very, very important for both of those guys.
Yeah, I hear everything you're saying right there. I think especially for a Rock Taylor more than I think Seth Hennigan, I think he will be more of a free agent pickup, come be on our practice squad, see what you can do. He's got great size. He's 6'3", 215 pounds, one season of 1,000 yards, nearly had a second one last year, 7 touchdown catches. Big body receiver, and one of those guys who's kind of been a really good possession receiver for the Tigers, even though maybe you don't think of him that way because he's not the fastest and not necessarily doing those short intermediate routes, but he's a guy that, you can throw the ball to him on a third down and he'll go and get it. And I think that's going to be a valuable skill set to have in the NFL. When it comes to Seth Hennigan, he doesn't have quite the arm strength But he's been incredibly accurate over his whole career. He's one of those guys that I think he leads a huddle and an offense well. We talked a little while ago when I had Gabe Kuhn on the show just about how Seth has the ability to take a group of guys and make them cohesive really fast. And he's done that over the course of his career. We saw him at the Reese's Senior Bowl and how he was the third or fourth quarterback that gets brought in there, but then he goes like 10 of 14, leads a touchdown to win the game, touchdown drive to win the game. Those are the kind of things that I think will be valuable for him. I don't necessarily see him being a starting quarterback in the NFL, but hey, man, the best job in the NFL is backup QB, right? If he could be, one of these starting QBs backup, you come in, you can learn for a year or two, you come in and throw some spot drives, maybe you kill some garbage time. I think Seth wouldn't mind that for a couple of years. He says he wants to be a coach one day. No better place to learn how to be a coach than, behind somebody else and learning from an offensive coordinator and a quarterback's coach and that kind of thing. I think both of these guys could have some really cool futures in the NFL. And I think as we've watched the last couple of drafts, we've had some Tigers be successful the last couple of years. Think about Blake Watson landing with the Broncos last season and how he had a little bit of success in that spot reserve role. Kind of beat out some guys that they didn't think was going to be on the 53-man roster at the time when he got into training camp. So I think it could be really cool to see what they do. Obviously, they mean a lot to the Memphis community, just what they've been able to deliver and what they've done over the last couple of years.
Rock's got good size, like you said, and that's somebody who can be used in a lot of different ways on the offensive side of the ball. But I think that he might be able to break through as a special teams darling, as a special teams star. And that's how he latches on to a roster. And then, boom, it is, okay, now he's here. He's in practice every day. We got to send him through some receiver drills. He could be our fourth wide receiver, and injuries or something like that pops off and he moves up the depth chart and then showcases what he can really, really do. Because, he's super versatile, and you're spot on about Hennigan and his ability to bring teams together. We saw it here at Memphis. A lot of transfers in, a lot of transfers out. The constant the past 4 or 5 years has been Seth Hennigan, and that's what's been driving that offense primarily. I look forward to seeing what his career is going to look like.
100%. NFL draft at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis next couple of days. QB and receiver drills will be on March the 1st, which is Saturday. Let's talk about some Tigers basketball.
Let's do it.
Tigers facing Rice for the second time, just a 3-point game. The last time they played, Nicholas Jourdain gave us his best game of the season. The finish right there, and then he's going to give what we like to call another one. Word to DJ Khaled, had a season-high 19 points in this game. Let's go to the second half. Colby Rogers, little pocket pass. Oh, that's Dink. Demarion Yates, follow-up and the finish there. There's the end of the first half. Now we can go to the second half. Colby Rogers, pocket pass to Dane Danger, the big man. It's given footwork. The finish with the left hand. Tigers up 7. But those pesky Owls would not go away, CJ. They battle back. Caden Powell, that behind the defense. Look, he had 17 and 7. That's going to tie it. But then watch Dane Danger just go to work. Demon time on the high post. Drop it off to P.J. Haggerty. Gets the block there. Behind the defense. That's a touchdown. Nice dot. He's going to block another jump shot. That gets the people on their feet. Big fella out of the back there. Timeout. I don't know about you, CJ. I like my Rice fried. Couple of more blocks, and then the final desperation from Rice. Pass going to get stolen out of the air by Dane Danger. Tigers get out on the break, and Haggerty's going to finish it there. He had 21 points, the hardest 21 of his life. That's game. Tigers close on a 14-2 run. They win at 84-72. Post-game, Danger said it was just winning time.
Just not a person who just yells all the time. I mean, that's just who I am. So I just got a little fired up. I feel like I always bring that. But yeah, it's March. It's time to win.
I don't really know what got into him, but we want a lot of that from here on out moving forward. Dame woke up at that moment. He's been scoring. He's been smooth. He gets his rebounds. But at that moment, it looked like a man possessed that he just didn't want to lose. And once he got the rhythm, I've never seen him that animated. out there getting blocks or making plays, and that's what we want from Dame. We want him to come out of his shadow and give us that energy during the game.
All right, CJ, so in this last 2 minutes of this Rice and Memphis game, Dame Danger absolutely takes over. I'm trying to find the little stretch that he had there. Here we go. Recorded a defensive rebound, an assist, a block, had a score off of that block, 2 more blocks after that, offensive rebound to the putback dunk in the span of 1 minute and 30 seconds. The game was tied at 70-70, and he single-handedly almost made it 80-70, and they finished again 84-72. Have you ever seen in college basketball, at least, a run like that to close a game by one guy, singular person?
Yeah, we see that from special players.
Okay.
You know, like that's who does things like that. I feel like Zach Edey has done that a time or two, or did that a time or two at Purdue. You know, I'm a Michigan fan, so I know while I can't particularly remember a stat line, I feel certain Trey Burke did something similar to that at some point in time, where you just shoulder the burden of the team and carry them through to victory. Zion probably did it a time or two. Hell, John Morant at Murray State probably did that. But think about the names of the players I'm saying in the college careers that they had.
Special guys.
They're special. And Dame Danger is special. I like Coach Penny Hardaway. Don't know what got into him, but they need to do everything to keep whatever that it is inside that young man. And if he can do that and be one of these special players consistently to end this season and into both the American tournament and March Madness, the Tigers are going to be in pretty good shape. Whenever you have somebody who can just take over games in winning time, whether it be professional football, college football, professional basketball, college basketball, men's soccer, women's soccer, whenever you got somebody who can single-handedly take over a game late, you're in you're in a good spot. And if Dame Danger can do that, both impacting the offensive and defensive side of the ball, like, that's going to be huge for the Memphis Tigers. They're going to be somebody nobody wants to play come March.
Yeah, I love how you put it. You got to be special to have a run like he had. And I think a lot of times we'll see them do it on the offensive side of the ball. You know, you'll just keep going to the same player over and over again. Even if it's a big guy, hey, maybe you're giving it to him in the post. Nobody can stop him. It is what it is. You got a guard. You know, we see John Morant do it with the Grizzlies all the time. You know, blow by. Nobody can stay in front of him, that kind of thing. Maybe he's got a hot hand from 3. You just keep giving it to him. But for him to do it, and he said this in the post game. You didn't hear in that soundbite there, but he talks about, I've got to do it on the defensive end just as heavily as I do it on the offensive end. And I think maybe you get a steal or two, right? And that'll turn the tide of some games. But for him to have 3 blocks in the span of 1 minute and 20 seconds, add on about 4 to 6 points, you get an assist in there. I mean, that was one of the craziest runs I've seen from one guy, especially a bigger guy who doesn't have the ball in his hands all the time. It was crazy to see him do it on both ends and really create the separation, because up until that point, Memphis had gotten up like 21-9 in the first half. Rice would close that gap going into the halftime, and then they come back. They just wouldn't go away. They're so pesky. They're not a good team. Like, you look at what Rice has done all year, they got a losing record in the American Conference. They're not a good team. But for whatever reason, when they play Memphis, because the last game was a 3-point game, they just hang around and they stick to you, and like white on rice. But they stick to you. And so for what Dame Danger
like dried rice in a pot, because dried rice sticks also.
It does. As a
child, I used to hate having to wash dishes after we cooked rice, because it's like, yo, I can't get this off of here, and I'm gonna get in trouble, because the only thing you can do, you gotta let it soak.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta let it
Mama
soak.
don't want to let it soak in the pot in the sink. She don't want to do that.
Why would I? My father was the worst. Why would I spend minutes, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes scrubbing, when we could just sit there? Everything else is clean.
Right.
Everything else is clean. We could just sit this pot over here, wait overnight, and I get it in the morning. There'll be more dishes. Like, why are you doing this to me, man?
Yeah.
And that's how the Memphis Tigers feel about rice. I'm sure, where it is, hey, you guys shouldn't be. It shouldn't be this
good. Like, why are y'all still here?
It shouldn't be this difficult. Why are you still around?
Thus Dane Danger became the soak, the Dawn dish soap in the water for the Memphis Tigers to beat Rice, and it was incredible. 25 points, 10 rebounds. We actually had to talk about what Nick Jourdain was able to do as well, because he had his best game of the season, 19 points, 9 rebounds. He kind of had a talk with Penny Hardaway, and Hardaway said when we talked to him in the postgame, we want you to just be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. He thought he would be more of a 3 this year because they thought Tyreek Smith would be on the team, and then he decides he wants more money. He's out, and Jourdain has to go back and kind of into that 4 role. But his energy on both ends of the floor was incredible in this game. Honestly, I don't know that Memphis wins that game without what Nicholas Jourdain was able to bring to the table. Another thing is, I don't know if you heard anything about this, CJ, but PJ Haggerty, it was the toughest 21 points I've ever seen anybody get. He was getting hacked. He's getting hacked all game. He still got to the free throw line 9 times, but it could have been 17 easily. We got a chance to ask Penny about this, because it seems like the last couple of games, PJ Haggerty hasn't been getting the foul calls that he should be getting, and it seems like PJ's getting fed up because he had a tech last night. Let's listen to the soundbite.
Well, if you've noticed, it just seems like there's maybe someone called in that they're not giving PJ calls anymore. Like when he's going to the basket, they're saying he's flopping. So PJ got frustrated because he went last game without a free throw, and he hit the ground at least 5 times. And then today, the same thing. He didn't get the free throws that he felt like he deserved, and maybe he said something inappropriately. But it's frustrating as a coach and to PJ that, that they're not giving him those same calls. We don't want anything given to us. If he gets fouled, we just want the call. I know they can make mistakes, but that's where the technical came from.
So there was some discussion, or CJ, not PJ, sorry. There's some discussion, CJ, in the press room as we're waiting on Coach Hardaway and the players about, because PJ Haggerty is pretty even-keeled. He gets a technical last night. We're wondering, what could he have said that would cause him to – he got a tech immediately, and when they run the VO, you'll kind of see it. He said something to the ref, and we're kind of trying to figure out what it was, because he don't curse, as from what we understand. It's kind of wild I had to go back and listen to the clip. He says, "Come on, man." But in the background, there's a fan that says, call the foul, and then that's some BS, and he didn't say BS. And we were all thinking, there's no way PJ was over here cussing at the referee, but I can see why he would, because he's not getting any foul calls. CJ, what do you think about I want to know who's out here dry stitching. Who's dry stitching to the league, to the AAC office saying, he's flopping and this, that, and the third. There it is right there. He's flopping this, that, and the third, because there's no reason for him to all of a sudden not be getting foul calls. He didn't have one in the Florida-Atlanta game. He had 9 in this game. What do you think?
I think that the dry snitch has got to be, I don't know, UAB maybe? I don't know why. I just feel like that's a UAB thing to do. I'm just throwing things out there recklessly. I have no clue who went out there and dry snitched. But if I was going to put my money on it, I'd say UAB is the one doing the dry snitching. The second thing I think is, all right, fine, the rules, it seems like the rules have changed. Can we get clarification? Mm-hmm. Right? You can't just change the rules to the game at the end of the season. We're at the end. There's only 3 games left.
Right.
We're at the end of the season now. If the rules are going to change, fine, whatever. But you've got to notify people about the rules changing. And Memphis is owed an explanation as to why the rule changed, what that new rule is, what that looks like for PJ Haggerty and officiating. If they're saying, if Memphis goes to the American offices and say, hey, what's going on? And the American comes back, hey, PJ's flopping, he's got to do X, Y, Z, LMNOP. Right? Memphis is going to be upset, rightfully so, because you're changing it this late into the season. But you know now how to strategize, game plan, and PJ knows how to proceed as a player now. And then it becomes okay, if that's how y'all are doing him, are y'all going to do everybody else that way? You have to do everybody else that way in the interest of fairness. And Memphis in this conference is one of the best, if not the best team, as it pertains to applying defensive pressure. Maybe they get out of position from time to time. They certainly do allow some knucklehead mistakes on the defensive end.
Certainly.
But when Penny Hardaway and this Tigers team decides, hey, let's turn up the pressure on you, they can do that. So if you're going to officiate PJ Haggerty in such a way where flopping, flailing about when you get touched is no longer a foul, well, hell, when Memphis does it on the other end, it can't be a foul then either. So just some clarification on the rules is all that is warranted.
Yeah, I mean, Penny kind of says it in that soundbite we listened to. Like, there's the referees are saying he's flopping, and I can see maybe there's a little bit of flopping. You got to sell the call if you want the foul call sometimes. So I can see some of that, but he gets to the line too much, and there are not enough players that are going like straight up on him when he goes to the basket to allow him to not be getting the foul calls as he was getting earlier on in the year. He was second last season. He was second in the entire country behind Zach Edey in getting to the foul line. So at what point his play style hasn't changed, right? I mean, he's doing the same things and getting to the bucket that he was doing before. And if he's selling it, okay, he's selling it, but there's no way he's selling it so much that you're cutting his free throws in half. I think that might be a little bit of a too much of a skew to the other side of the extreme. And to PJ's credit, last night was the first time that he's had a technical all season. And when we talked to Coach Hardaway about this, he said he's proud of PJ. I keep wanting to say PJ and CJ. I can't do this with you on the show anymore. He told PJ he's proud of what PJ's been able to do in maintaining his composure because he recognizes that the position that he's in on the team, being the leading scorer, being the go-to guy, he cannot be the one who is visibly and audibly, frustrated. He can't be the guy who's going at the referees on a regular basis because the other guys in that locker room feed off of him in a way that maybe they weren't doing for Dane Danger before the last, let's call it 3-4 games. And so he's been proud of what PJ's been able to do because he understands that even though PJ's just a sophomore, he's taken on such a leadership role with the Tigers this year, and he's going to continue to be the guy who goes and scores. So just like you said, CJ, just a couple of games left here in the American. They got to take on UAB on Sunday. That's kind of the marquee matchup of this American Conference slate. We got to get a break real quick, but coming up, we're going to talk about that team that CJ actually does work for, the Memphis Grizzlies. They had a big night on Tuesday and a return of Call 12. We'll talk about it next.
The weather affects us every day, but some days are more impactful than others. In Memphis, we get it all. From heat waves, severe storms, snow, and ice. As a meteorologist, it's my job to keep you safe on those impactful days. Don't get caught off guard and know what to expect with ABC24 Weather Impact Days.
The 24 Plus app. Watch us live and continue with us on 24 Plus. And get extended coverage of weather and breaking news. The 24 Plus app. ABC24 is making your voice heard.
This city is filthy, it's crime infested, and somebody need to do something about it.
Listening to your concerns.
We could have such a great city if we really just put the time and energy into it and come up with solutions.
And getting results for you.
We appreciate 24 for coming out.
Getting the issues taken care of.
When you put it on ABC24, somebody gonna listen.
ABC24, seeking solutions for you.
I just love working on this morning show.
We really are like one big family. Myself, Yvonne, Ruben.
You're probably gonna like what you see and what you hear, and you're gonna leave being informed and having a little bit of fun at the same time.
ABC24 News This Morning.
Welcome back to the 24 floor. Got my main man, CJ Hurd of Grind City Media on the show with me today. CJ works for the Grizzlies, so naturally we got to talk about them because why else would I bring him on the show? We got a show on Tuesday against the Suns. Let's just go straight to the fourth quarter of this one. We've been kind of missing John Morant as of lately. He takes over in the final stretch, scored the last 11 points of the fourth quarter for the Grizzlies. Hadn't hit a three-pointer all game until he got that one right there, CJ. 0 for 9 before then. And then, of course, we get the call 12 moment, 5 seconds left, gets to his spot, floater, you bet, like the praying grandmother say, call him on the main line. We get over to overtime. It's about sharing is caring. He finds the rookie, Jalen Wells, not once, not twice, but 3 times to close this game. The Grizzlies won it 151-148. Morant had 29 points, 8 assists, 2 steals, despite shooting 7 of 25. But when you're not scoring, sometimes you just got to keep pressing, CJ.
Just staying locked. I mean, I know every shot I take won't go in, but that don't mean, once you miss one, just stop taking them. So just continue to just shoot the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. He's too good of a player, to struggle for the whole game. He stayed with it, and nobody else I'd rather have trying to make plays down the stretch.
CJ, I know you work for this team. You've seen plenty of 12 over the last couple of years, but what he was able to do down the stretch of this game, what'd you think?
It's important. They need him. They need somebody to do that. And if it's him, great. If John Morant is your Mariano Rivera, where you can call him in, play Enter Sandman, and he close out a game, let's do it. Let's go. But one of those 3, Dez, Ja, Jaren's going to have to be your closer, and all 3 of them are going to have to pick up the load on both the offensive and defensive end. And we're talking about Ja, and rightfully so. Great game. Great way, particularly to close out the game in fourth quarter and overtime. They're not there in that position if Jaren isn't dominant in that game. A super efficient game for Jaren Jackson Jr. What do you have? Like 28 points on 13 shots. Incredible. Desmond Bane also had a phenomenal game. I was listening to the call or watching the call at the house, and Pete Pranica brought up that that game was just the 3rd time this year all 3 of them had gone for 20-plus points, in just the 12th time in their careers together that all 3 of them had gone for 20-plus points. And 10-2 in those, right? Like, because those are your stars. That is your, for lack of a better phrase, that's your big 3. They're going to have to be they can't just be big in the playoffs. They're going to have to be extra large, huge, ginormous, whatever adjective, bigger than big that you need to use. That's what they're going to have to be. And John Morant's ability to close games may be where he fits in this piece, because it's hard to get everybody going in one game, let alone at once, right? Because that's not how basketball works. It's not going to be, okay, it's Jaren's turn now. All right, next possession, Dez, you shoot. Next possession, Ja, you shoot. That's not how basketball works. Somebody's going to have to carry them to the end, and somebody's going to have to close it out. I used the Mariano Rivera comparison earlier. Think about it like a relay race, one of the big major relays where, okay, the first leg, I got it. Second leg, you got it. And then the anchor leg, somebody else has it, right? Like, that's going to have to be how this works, where they pass the baton from one to the next in order for the Grizzlies to get where they want to get to in the postseason.
Yeah, I think you make excellent points. When I started writing this game up, I was talking to other people about this game. It was a game where your stars were stars. And it was a game where your stars were stars on both ends, right? So let's see. We had Jaren Jackson. Yeah. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 28. Desmond Bane had 25. Morant had 29. On the other side, Devin Booker had 28. Bradley Beal had 24. Kevin Durant had 26. And strangely, out of the blue, Bol had 23 points as well. And they got 21 from Grayson Allen because he couldn't miss from three-point range. So this was a game where your stars were stars on both ends, on both teams. It was one of the best games I had seen or really had been in the building for since I started covering the Grizzlies. I mean, I'm so glad I was just there to watch it. It was that fun. But to your point, there has to be a point where it can't be my turn, your turn, your turn. Because that's what it felt like for the Suns. It felt like, okay, Booker's going to take one. All right, Beal's going to get one. All right, Kevin Durant's going to go get one. For the Grizzlies, it was like, okay, we got to stretch a little bit here from Jaren. He goes and gets you 4 to 6 points on his own. And then you get a bit of a stretch. There's a 3 there from Desmond Bane. Oh, he gets another 3 there. Desmond Bane seems like he's kind of the, like, I can do it the whole game. Like, whatever you need me to do it, I can do it the whole game. It seems like we kind of getting Jaren front half, Ja back half. And to Ja's point, he shot 7 for 25, 0 for 9 from 3, just kept shooting it. And I think you kind of have to appreciate that because I think it would have been easy for him to kind of sulk in that, like, hey, man, it's not my night. I'm gonna let these other two guys kind of have it. But if he hadn't gone on that run, I don't think they win that game. Whether Jaren Jackson Jr. or Desmond Bain are in there or not, because the Suns' big three plus Grayson Allen and Bol were giving them everything they could take. So it's just an incredible game. Shout out to the rookie as well, Jalen Wells, 19 points. He had 7 of his 19 in overtime, and so for Ja Morant to keep giving him the ball in that moment was incredible. It was one of those games where it's like, okay, this does seem like a team that can contend because ain't a lot of people going to be able to keep up with you scoring 151 points in a game. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to Santi and Luke Kennard as well, right? Like you're going to need something from the supporting cast for the Grizzlies. You'll need something from Kennard. You'll need something from Wells. You'll need something from Santi and from Edie. But the heavy lifting is going to come from Jaren, Dez, and Ja Morant, right? So that's where the heavy lifting is going to come from. And Ja Morant, to your point, didn't get deterred by missing 9 threes. Not only did he not get deterred and take that last 3 to bring the Grizzlies closer late in the fourth quarter, but he continuously attacked the rim. And so at a certain point, you realize shots not falling. Let me get to the rim. And he played into and through contact instead of trying to avoid it, which led to him being put at the free throw line a bunch. I think he was perfect from the free throw line. I can't remember exactly, like 10 for 10 or 11 for 11, something like that. From
14 for 14.
14 for 14.
14
right.
for
so
14.
If your shot's not falling from deep, get to the rim. Ja Morant can get to the rim at will whenever he wants to. And when you see somebody there, you don't have to double pump, dipsy doodle it, 360 lay in, although he's capable of doing that. You don't have to do that. You just go into the contact, hit the contact. The refs are going to call the foul, and you can get those points at the free throw line.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody contort their body quite the way Ja Morant does. No. And he contorts it into passes.
I've seen
the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. He's falling down to the ground. Right, exactly. He had another phenomenal play, had his head at the rim. I didn't include it, and I should have. That is an error on my part. His head at the rim, alley-oop slam, was incredible last night. To your point, the big three got to do all the heavy lifting. This is the heavy lifting portion of the schedule. They got the Knicks on Friday night. They'll take on the Spurs again, the Wemby-less Spurs, so that's not really heavy lifting. But then they got the Hawks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That'll be next March the 5th, which I believe is Wednesday. So we'll see what they can do in these next couple of games, the 5-game homestand that they're on. I normally let you go at this point in the show, CJ, but I'm going to keep you around because this is the best thing I saw this week, and I just want to know your reaction. I know you had this on your show as well. Best thing I saw this week, we're talking Blazers versus Wizards. It's Shaedon Sharpe with an absolute detonation of a 3, cocks it back on Champagne. I forget which Champagne twin this is, but whichever one it is, he might have popped the cork on the champagne. That is what we call a poster slam in the most realistic way you can put it. I won't say it's the dunk of the year because I think we've seen some incredible dunks all season. But CJ, what was your reaction to this dunk last night? Because it was the buzz of the NBA.
Call it the dunk of the year. I think my reaction was just a bunch of different noises. Like that. And a dunk is good when you don't have words for it. You just have your noise.
Yeah.
This space was made.
A lot of onomatopoeias, right?
So when your dunk is full of onomatopoeias, it's a good ass dunk. That's a good dunk. Yeah, that's the only way we're talking about. Think about this.
The only reason we're talking about the Blazers and the Wizards.
We're talking about the Trailblazers versus the Wizards is if something incredible happens. That's it. Man. That's it. That's CJ, how good the dunk is. It's got us talking Trailblazers and Wizards.
That's insane. CJ, I appreciate you being on the show, brother. You have been fantastic. That's all I got for you guys on the 24th floor today. Thank you to CJ Hurt. Thank you to my production crew. Thank you to Rich Dizer for producing the show. We are back on Monday for more shenanigans, but for now, our work is done. See you later. He just dipped out. I thought he